Another week, another college coach gets paid millions to go away. We're going to talk about that next. Let's.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.
What is going on, everybody? It is lunchtime. Meeting ended early. I'm hopping on for a little bit today. Megan, I thought it was canceled for today, but just got notification, so I'm hopeful. Well, here I am. I'm hoping. As you can see, I'm back to my old setup. Right now I have internet. I have everything plugged in. I'm hoping. I'm praying. I'm doing all that stuff to keep us going. So we are trying to get this thing going and off the road. And, you know, unknown and unknowable. You never know when we're going to pop back in here. So, yeah, super fun Monday already. Got some meetings out of the way. Meeting ended early. I thought, let's bump this up a little bit. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some stuff that's going on. And if you did not see, LSU fired Brian Kelly yesterday, and they're negotiating his buyout, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of $54 million. $54 million to go away. So now we have Billy Napier at Florida. We have James Franklin at Penn State. We have Brian Kelly at LSU. Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, all being paid to go away, to do nothing. Like, what the heck, man? That's a lot of money to be paid to do nothing. Now, I know it's a high-stress job. I know that, like, colleges are making a ton of money right now with NILs and the advertising and all of that kind of stuff, and the boosters are donating because they want their programs to be winners. But the pressure to win when you're making that kind of money has got to be insane. Absolutely insane. And then you're not as successful as they want you to be. Now, LSU's weird. Like, it's in the SEC. It's very competitive year upon year. They're having an awful year. And because of that, let's get rid of Brian Kelly and let's start over. Now, I was talking to Corey this morning. I never thought Brian Kelly was a good fit at LSU. And so I think they were just looking for the first opportunity to get him out the door. And by not doing so well this year, gave them that opportunity, and out the door he went. To the tune of $54 million. James Franklin was in the Final Four last year in January, not even 12 months ago. January, Final Four, 1 2-minute drive away from a national championship game, and he's out the door. Like, the pressure that has to come with has got to be insane. But enough about college football. I just can't believe. I didn't even watch much this weekend. Now that Penn State is done, I barely tuned in. I caught up on some shows. I watched a movie. I hung out with my wife. We went to dinner with some friends, and it was a nice day, nice Saturday. Maybe a little Home Depot, maybe a little Bed Bath & Beyond. You know, nice Saturday. Corey, that's only because he wasn't a good fit. You can't get your ass handed to you by A&M at home on a Saturday night. That was the last straw. A&M's good. And A&M has a ton of oil money being pumped into that school. Tons of oil money. That college football is going to be flipped on its head. It's not going to be your perennial powerhouses anymore. It's going to be what universities have the most money to back their programs. And that's where it's at. A&M has all the oil money. Vanderbilt's in the top 10 because Nashville has money. Penn State graduates the most CEOs in the country. They have a lot of money. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be where the money is, not where the perennial powerhouses are. Your name isn't going to get you the recruits anymore. You're going to have to money, money, money. That's what it is. Megan, my husband and I walk around Menards, so that sounds like a good date day. Yeah. I love Menards. That's just like a Midwest thing, I think. Menards is, though. My daughter used to work there, which was awesome. We got a great discount. Corey Leonard speaking like a typical Homer fan. Doesn't matter if A&M is good. The culture in the locker room was non-existent. Yeah. All right. Just a little bit ago, Rogue announced their events for this weekend. Well, a handful of the events. I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. We'll take a look at them. I am not a programming guy. But I'm going to just show you what's on tap. They're all named after like Scottish things. So event 1, we have Nessie, 160 double unders with an 80-meter handstand walk, 60 GHD sit-ups, 40 box jump overs, and 20 or 16 log bar muscle ups. So that is the log muscle up. There it is right there. That's what pirates say when they get hit, isn't it? Menards. Yeah. Event 2. 3 rounds, 4 time, 5 log clean and press. There's the other log movement. 40-foot yoke carry and 1 power stair. So I'm assuming they're going to get the handle apparatus. You're going to have to lift the weights up the stairs. So there we go. Corey, everything is reading that my mic is on. I will double check. Maybe not. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It was on my. So the problem is I can't see. Okay, better. Okay, good. Yeah. Having set up everything. Okay, there we go. Thank you, guys. All right, so the power stair is the wooden stairs where they have the handle and the weight stacked up. They have to lift the weight onto the next stair. Up you go, up you go, up you go. So that looks like William Wallace. Event 3 is the tax collector. 4 rounds, 10 back squat. Their back squats are always at Rogue. 10 dumbbell snatch at 170 and 10 sandbag cleans at 150, 100. So those are your first 3 events on Friday. Then we move into Saturday. We have the Crux, which is a 20-18 calorie row, and then 15, 12, 9, 6, 3 bench press, and 1 horizontal pegboard each round. I think that one's interesting. I like that one. Then for event 5 is the dual 5, and they have not announced that as usual. That is TBA. And event 6 is Pay the Piper, a buy-in of 1,000-meter ski erg into 12, 9, 6, 3, 1 wall-facing handstand push-ups and deadlifts. And we don't have a weight on those. Then we finish out the weekend, 9 events for this weekend. With event 7, Granite City, TBA. We don't really know what that is. Event 8 is double bogey, 10 rounds of overhead squats and 6 burpee over the bar. That's going to be fast. And then event 9 is TBA, the final event of the weekend. So, any thoughts on the workouts for Rogue? Granite City involved a heavy stone. I mean, it's Iceland that's really known for the stones. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. It's got to be some kind of equipment or something that we've never seen, Jeff. I'm sure of it. So those are the Rogue workouts for this coming weekend. Again, they are offering the premium package of broadcast, where you can actually move the camera from lane to lane and watch what you want to watch. They are tailoring back the tailgate party instead of going all day. And it will not be hosted by Pat Sherwood this year. It's going to be hosted by Zach Tellender. Which I found fascinating, actually, that they're going outside the CrossFit space for a guy hosting that who has a ton of followers on YouTube. And that's probably a good way to open up the door to more people to come in and watch, because people will come just to watch Zach, and then we'll see what that translates into views and such. Jeff Bako, sounds very strongman-esque. That's Granite City. Yes, it does. So it was good for 15 minutes, and then I lost the internet. So there we go. Isn't that awesome? Jeff Bako says that Zach is the Pat McAfee of the fitness space. That's probably a good thing. I think Pat has done a lot for College Game Day, and he's done a lot for the podcasting world, especially in the sports scene. So I think that's a good thing if we get someone like that in. So there we go. Sorry that I had to jump back on the phone. I hate this. I wish things were better. I've got to figure this out, because I ran my laptop all morning and it never left the internet. The minute I came down here and plugged stuff into it, then I lose stuff. So there we go. So what else we want to talk about? Last night on the show, we were talking a little bit about TRT and whether it was legal to get a therapeutic exemption for TRT. Extra Sloppy was in the chat last night. He said he applied for it back in the day. And he sent me what he had to fill out to get a therapeutic exemption for TRT. And it is very specific to issues you would experience with TRT, that you had to prove that you had those issues. In addition, tons of labs, lots of analysis. And he actually said the legwork was so much that he decided it wasn't worth it, and he wasn't good enough to make it worth the effort to go through the process. I'm still digging into it because it is pages and pages and pages of information, but it is something I want to talk about later in the week as I kind of dig in and learn more. But I was blown away at that. TRT is an allowed therapeutic exemption, but it is unreal what all you have to submit to get that approved. And the email even says, like, it is a long, arduous process, and it is very hard to get approved for it. I'd love to get Curtis on from CrossFit to talk us through that, and I'll see what I can do in that direction. I watched the Matt Torres interview that everybody was talking about last night as well. I thought it was really good. It gets into a lot of coachy type stuff, like coaching elite athletes, what that's like, how you do that, things of that nature. He did talk about prioritization of the season and that he would never tell an athlete what is their priority and what they should do. But it does seem like his athlete's priority is the CrossFit Games season. And it's weird because he talked about Rogue being the end of this season, even though WFP has one more stop to go. And I found that pretty enlightening that it's not even on the forethought of his mind that that is part of this season. I think that's very telling. As someone who coaches a lot of the top athletes, I thought that was very telling. Jonathan, what I'm saying is Matt Torres as a coach views Rogue as the end of his season with his athletes, and then they start their off season. I'm not saying that that is what officially is going on. I'm telling you how he views it as a coach of elite athletes from his words. No, he looks at Rogue as part of the season. So anyway, it was really interesting. And he really talked a lot about like not trying to do too much as a coach, that there are people out there that know more than he does about different subjects, and that he would never work with an athlete on nutrition. He'd never work with PT. He has people special to do those kinds of things. And in fact, he decided that Dallin needed more help with running than he could provide. And and has got him a specific running coach now, which I thought was really interesting and very telling about the kind of coach he is. He did confirm he moved to Nashville, and he is going to be a full remote coach now, and that he was open to the possibility of when his athletes came into town to do kind of like a competition walkthrough with Proven, like a month out of a major competition, to go a little bit of head to head to help both teams out. And I think that would be interesting if that happened. I'm not sure every camp is in the same, shares the same position as Torres does. So I think that is an interesting concept. There was some big news that Bayley Martin actually won the Down Under Throwdown in Australia. If you remember correctly, at the semifinal event at Torian, after the first event, he suffered a heart-related issue and was pulled from competition. And then they found out that he had some issues going on and had to basically shut it down for a few months to get his heart rate back down. Well, now he's been cleared for competition and he won his first competition back, which is the Down Under Throwdown. So really happy that he is again healthy enough to compete. Super stoked for him that that has happened and that he is back to doing what he loves and that he's healthy and able to do so. I think that means a lot for him. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is this just something that popped into my head. Athletes are creatures of habit. They do things because they do it over and over again because it's what makes them feel comfortable, especially in a competition setting. And so I had a thought. Um, I had a thought that if Jason goes to Rogue and Dallin's not there, as it has turned out that they have become quite the buddies, best friends, whatever you want to call it. They talk smack a lot. Will it feel different enough for Jason that he will feel uncomfortable at Rogue without having his friend there to talk smack with? I watch a lot of sports. Pitchers won't step on the white line, they hop over it. People wear the same socks. People don't wash their uniforms until they lose. Um, there's so many superstitions, so many habits. People eat the same meal every time they compete. And so I just wonder, like, someone that has been hanging out together, talking smack in the back, doing things together like Jason and Dallin have. And now that Dallin can't go because of the Rabdo situation, is Jason affected by that because it messes up with his routine? Just a question I was pondering and thought was interesting. Any thoughts on that at all? I mean, I'm not even an athlete at this point, and I wear the same. Well, when the Bears were winning four in a row, I wore the same shirt every Sunday for their games. And yesterday, that shirt was in the laundry, and so I couldn't wear it, and they lost. So it's all because I didn't wear the right shirt yesterday that the Bears lost. So I can only imagine how athletes who get into those routines really feel. Just a thought. So I am really fascinated about this TRT thing. I can't wait to dive into it a little bit more. I want to look at the rule book and see what it says specifically. But this email from Curtis, um, Craig says that Grayson will keep Jason focused, I think is what he meant to say. I don't think it's about being focused. I think it's about feeling comfortable. So that's what I think is interesting. So we'll see. Because I think feeling comfortable sometimes is more important than feeling focused. So Grant says the rule book says no exceptions for TRT. That's what I need to look into. Last night on our Sunday night show and earlier in this show, I got an email from a listener who applied for a therapeutic exemption for TRT. And just don't know how long ago it was. And so I've been reading the email. It is very, very long in all the stuff that you have to um, provide to get that exemption, um, and the lab tests and the results. And you must have certain conditions to get the exemption. And I don't know how old that exemption was, but it came from Curtis at CrossFit HQ to this individual with no guarantees they would get approved, and they needed to provide, and it was a laundry list of things back to HQ to show why they needed it. So I need to read the rule book for myself again, just to see what it says specifically. Um, but this person did apply for an exemption and was given the application to do so for TRT. But again, no guarantees, super long list of things that you had to clear to get approved for that. And it came with, if you got approved, a lot of monitoring. So that's it. It kind of came up out of the blue last night on the show. And this person emailed me the email they received from CrossFit when they applied. And that's what I'm just digging into now. And I've been busy all morning with meetings, so I haven't been able to dig into the rule book specifically. And I really don't even know the year that this person applied. I need to find that out. Because maybe it was allowed at one point and they've shut that down. So, but it was fascinating to see all the stuff you had to provide when and if it was part of the exemption list. And it gets very specific about a lot of the things in the male genitalia area, about like semen counts, about all kinds of things. The labs are just were it that you had to provide were pretty in depth. So it wasn't just like free testosterone and testosterone levels. It was very specific about the condition you have. What were your semen counts? Do you have a hard time getting erections? And all those were the questions on there. Trish says, I need some TRT, titty replacement therapy. I'm sure that's coming out soon. I'm sure. Big Pharma is right on that one. Trish says those were first date questions. Yeah, I guess so. Got to be sure. Got to be sure your guy's potent. But yeah, I will share with you what I discover as I look into this more and more. But I just was really fascinated about all the questions they asked. I guess that's all. So fun stuff. Well, again, I'm going to do a short show today. We started late because I was in a meeting, but I'll be back tomorrow with a lunch show. Hopefully, I can figure out this internet thing and I can be back on my computer. And then Wednesday will be with Caroline Klutz. Just having a nice casual conversation with her. We're going to talk about Crash. She's a registered dietitian. We're going to talk about things associated with that. So I can't wait for you guys all to hang out with her on Wednesday. With that, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Lunch with the Clydesdale. See you all then.